Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join me as we explore Southwest's lost historical characters, stunning desert vistas, forgotten Native American history, or tales of lost gold mines. There's always something new to discover. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome, treasure hunters and history buffs, to another episode of Southwest Desert. Today we're diving into a fascinating tale of lost mines, Jesuit priests, and buried treasures that will take us on a journey through time and across the rugged landscapes of the American Southwest. Our story begins in the early 16th century, in a region the early Spanish explorers called Primeria Alta, what we now know as parts of Arizona and New Mexico. It's a tale that has persisted for centuries, capturing the imagination of adventurers and prospectors alike. So sit back, relax, and let's unravel the mystery of the lost Jesuit silver mine. It's 1508, about 10 years before the Spanish first set foot on the eastern coast of Mexico. The Opata Native Americans, native to the region, stumble upon something extraordinary. Pieces of rich native silver float and the outcrop of a vein. Little did they know that this discovery would set in motion a chain of events that would echo through the centuries. Fast forward to the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors. They quickly caught wind of this silver discovery and wasted no time in taking control of the mine. By 1750, the mine was in full operation under Spanish control. In that same year, the second revolt of the Pima tribes erupted. Missions were plundered and partially destroyed. It wasn't until 1752 that peace was restored, and another 2 years before the missions were reoccupied. But our story doesn't end there. Now, let's fast forward to 1767. King Charles III of Spain issues a shocking edict. All Jesuit priests are to be expelled from Spain and its colonies. Why, you ask? Well, one reason was their alleged failure to pay the royal fifth, a 20% tax on all gold and silver produced. But here's where it gets really interesting. Legend has it that before their expulsion, the Jesuit fathers had not only located rich gold and silver mines, but had also amassed a fortune in precious metals. Faced with their impending exile, what did they do? They concealed the mines and buried their accumulated wealth, hoping to return for it one day. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest lost treasure tale. If you would like to help support my channel and time, hit the super thanks heart icon on the bottom of the video and contribute. This is very helpful. Please forgive any mispronunciations. Relax and enjoy. Now, let's zoom in on one particular mine that's at the heart of our story today, La Purisima Concepcion, or the Pure Conception Mine. According to old church records brought from Spain by Don Ricardo Ortiz of Hermosillo, Sonora, Mexico, and Don Santiago Diaz, former governor of Lower California, this was one of the richest mines ever discovered in the region. But where exactly was this mine? Well, grab your maps, listeners, because we're going on a treasure hunt. The records state that La Purisima Concepcion was located 4 leagues, that's about 12 miles, south of the Tumacacori mission. From there, you'd head straight through the pass of Los Llanos, about 3 leagues south of the Guadalupe mine. Keep going until you reach another gateway or pass called the Gateway to Agua Hondo, or deep water. From this pass, a creek runs south, emptying onto the desert near the old town of Santa Cruz. The mine itself? It's to the east of the pass. But that's not all. Below the pass, on the bank of the creek, you'd find 12 arrastres and 12 patios. For those of you not versed in old mining techniques, arrastres were primitive ore crushing mills, and patios were areas where the crushed ore was processed. Now here's where it gets really exciting. At the mine, there's supposedly a tunnel 300 varas long, that's about 835 feet, running north. But wait, there's more. About 200 varas from the portal of this tunnel, a crosscut 100 varas long leads west. And the ore at the face of this crosscut? It's described as yellow, half silver and 1/5 gold. Can you imagine the riches? 50 varas from the mouth of the mine in a southerly direction, the records claim you'd find slabs or balls of silver, weighing anywhere from 25 to 250 pounds each. And if you're worried about missing the entrance, don't be. According to the records, the name La Purisima Concepcion is chiseled into the rock above the tunnel. Oh, and did I mention the copper door fastened with a large iron lock? Now you might be thinking, this all sounds too good to be true. Surely someone must have found this mine by now? Well, listeners, that's where our tale takes an intriguing turn. You see, there's a mass of evidence suggesting that this old mine is located in a narrow pass between the west end of the Pajarita Mountains and a place called El Ruido, the Mountain of Noises. Over the years, there have been tantalizing glimpses and near misses. Let me tell you about a few of them. Years ago, in Naga Laz, a saloon keeper grub-staked an old prospector. That means he funded the prospector's expedition in exchange for a share of any findings. The old fellow disappeared for about 6 weeks. Then one day, he showed up in front of the saloon with 2 burros loaded down with large chunks of native silver. He claimed to have found them scattered over the surface of the ground in the pass between the Pajaritas and El Ruido. Excited by his find, the old prospector started celebrating his good fortune. Tragically, he was found dead the next morning. The saloon keeper, try as he might, was never able to find the place where the old prospector had made his discovery. But that's not the only tantalizing tale. Shortly after the Mexican War and the signing of the Gadsden Treaty, another old prospector based in Tubac made frequent trips to the Pajaritas and El Ruido. Each time he returned with large pieces of native silver. The source of his finds remained a mystery. And the stories don't end there. In 1950s, another prospector set up camp in the pass. After a couple of weeks of prospecting, disaster struck. A cloudburst sent a wall of water down the creek near his tent, washing away his camp. The prospector himself was never found. But here's where it gets really interesting. The day before the cloudburst, this prospector had given his partner a roll of undeveloped films. When these films were later developed, they showed something extraordinary. The entrance to an old mine working and the front wall of an old mission or chapel that had never before been seen in this part of the country. This little church was probably a visita for the Tumacacori mission, not unlike those frequently built by Spanish-American miners near their workplaces. Could this have been the entrance to the legendary La Purisima Concepcion mine? Now, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. The Tumacacori mission, founded in 1691, was at the heart of Jesuit mining operations in the area. We don't know exactly how long the Jesuit fathers worked the mines, but we do know they were operating a number of gold and silver mines in the surrounding mountains right up until their expulsion in 1767. The scale of their operations was impressive. Discoveries of adobe smelters on the east side of the mission indicate extensive mining activities. And get this, according to some accounts, 2,050 mule loads of virgin silver and 205 loads of gold bullion were taken from the Tumacacori mission by the Padres and concealed in the Guadalupe mine, located about a league southwest of the mission ruins. But why haven't these treasures been found? Well, the Jesuits were clever, foreseeing that they wouldn't be able to take their treasure with them when expelled. They're said to have buried it near the missions or in the mines themselves, hoping to return for it later. Of course, they never got the chance. Now, let's talk geology for a moment. The area where La Purisima Concepcion is believed to be located has some interesting features that could explain the rich silver finds. There are kaolin outcroppings in the pass between the Pacheritas and El Ruido. These outcrops consist of kaolin, iron-stained quartz, and occasionally large nuggets of native silver. The Old Spanish records often mention finding native silver in veins of kaolin, or caliche, as they called it. Most of the rich minerals originally contained in these veins have been leached and carried down to water level, where they've been precipitated as secondary enrichment. This geological process creates an interesting phenomenon. It's not uncommon in desert country to find rich outcrops of silver ore near the surface, while directly underneath, the ore has been leached out. Many old Spanish workings were abandoned when they hit this leached zone, instead of continuing down to water level where secondary enrichment almost certainly awaits. Here's a thought to ponder. How many of these old workings closed down when they entered the leached zone or abandoned after the demonetization of silver could be reopened today? It's worth noting that most silver mines in southern Arizona carry a high percentage of copper as well. As we near the end of our tale, let's not forget the eerie atmosphere surrounding these lost mines. Mexican and Native American vaqueros believed El Ruido was haunted and avoided it as much as possible. So, where does this leave us? With a tantalizing mystery, to be sure. The story of La Purisima Concepcion mine, as set forth in the old Spanish documents, seems to have a ring of truth to it. The numerous findings of native silver float in the pass, and at the Planchas de Plata mine a short distance to the south in Sonora, Mexico, lend credence to the tale. But the mine, if it exists, remains hidden. Is it still out there, waiting to be rediscovered? Are the Jesuit treasures still buried, untouched after all these centuries? Or has nature reclaimed these sites, erasing all traces of their existence? The tale of the lost Jesuit silver mine reminds us that history is full of mysteries, some of which may never be solved. But it's in the seeking, in the exploration and the wonder that we often find the greatest treasures. This has been Southwest Desert reminding you that sometimes the greatest adventures are the ones that lead us into the unknown. Until next time, keep exploring, keep wondering, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to unlock the secrets of the lost Jesuit silver mine. Happy trails! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.